Hi everybody, Scott Jansen here. Welcome to another student interview for our Therapy Maximizer program. Really privileged today to have one of our top, ranking students, Lian, with us here today. So very cool that we could take her away from her busy business life to jump online with her and talk to her about what she's doing with her business and things of that nature. So Lian's got a really cool story. She actually came into the Therapy Maximizer program only like maybe 3 months ago, if that, and she has just absolutely just killed the leaderboard. She's basically sitting up the top with all the top tier students, and she's definitely one of the students that everybody's been requesting. They want to find out how the hell she's doing what she's doing, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So Lian, thanks for jumping online with us.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. All right. So look, let's start from the beginning. So you came into the Therapy Maximizer program in a different situation than most. So I guess the best place for us to start is tell me about your background in business, the type of business you were running at the time before you jumped into the program.
Well, I've been in the industry, fitness industry, for 20 years now, having always been an entrepreneur and having my business run from all over the world. I've owned gyms, I've had people working under me, and it was always what I've done and what I've loved. And then I went through interesting 15 years ago, I went through that period of going, there's way more to this than actually doing this one-on-one. But never being able to really crack that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And where was the business at when you thought, you know what, I don't want to do the one-on-one anymore? What's the transition you wanted to make?
Interestingly enough, Scott, I did filter out. I had interns underneath me that I was training at the time. So I had 12 trainers working underneath me. So I could see there was a way, but the time and that you would spend, and as opposed to helping one person at a time. And then after that, I was fortunate enough to be recruited to work overseas for various celebrities, which I very much did enjoy, and it was very high end. However, it led me going, I want to help more people, and how can I do this? And this is when the internet was starting to, really explode, and it fascinated me, but I was not tech savvy in any way. So for me, it was going, okay, how is this done? What is the next level? And for me, it was to get out of fitness, because it was a burnout. It was a complete burnout, one-on-one. You're doing 50, 60 hours a week. Even I had trainers, it was just always a burnout, and it was like, this is not working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And at that point, what were you hoping to do? So get away out of the fitness thing, away from the one-on-one. What was the goal after that?
I saw very early on, wow, if we're going back 10 years ago, that there was more to health and fitness. It was a big picture. It wasn't just about running someone on the treadmill going, well, you're going to get skinny after 6 weeks, or whatever the goals are. Everyone wants a fast, quick fix these days. And it led me to going, well, there's more to this. So I went to America. I studied at an institute in America, and I learned to study the body from the inside out. So working with all organ health, and everything is connected in the body, which then I could see put me quite ahead of other people at the time. And this was, interestingly enough, gut health 10 years ago. No one had heard of gut health. The word was foreign. So, and then coming back and slowly introducing that. So that was the change for me. Huge change, massive. Yeah.
Okay. What did you find? Because it's very interesting. Like when we first started talking and you told me what you wanted to do, I didn't even know what it was. So I had to quickly Google to find out what it is. And you're not the first student for that as well. There's a couple of students that have stumped me when they've said, this is what I want to work on. This is what I want to niche. And I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know what it is, but let's give it a go. What was the reaction when you tried to introduce gut health into the industry? Because what's interesting here is what you're about to tell me is usually the catalyst for the students absolutely crushing it in this program to actually bring in such a foreign thing, like you said, and create it from the ground up. So what was the reaction like when you started talking about gut health and things like that?
It was huge. And look, the catalyst, I wanted to do this many years ago. I've approached many coaches, to be honest, to try and get it out there online, knowing that I wanted to help the masses. And I was told like 3 years ago, like, you're an absolute, idiot, basically. If you think that someone is interested in gut health and that's going to get you out there in the world, Lian, like, you need to go back. And so I had many, many shutdowns before that. And then when you said to me, Lian, you need to niche. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I niche in? I've done for 20 years. This has been my industry. There's not many things I don't know about health and fitness, mind, and everything connects. And then I looked into what is the key buzzword in the market. Yeah. If you're really into what you're doing and you love with a passion, you're following the market, you're looking at what's going out there, and there's always keywords and there's always signs. So, and people need help. So we're living in a world now where everyone is stressed and they're tired and they're sick and they're run down. So why are they like that? And that's my advice to ask people, why? Yeah.
Okay. So you decided, you know what, I'm going to get into the gut health thing. And you said before you went to other coaches. What was the struggle you were finding? Because there's a gazillion coaches out there. Everyone's an expert in something. There's a billion ways to do things. What did you try, and what were the major issues, and what actually were you trying to actually do with the business to take it online?
First and foremost, to take it online was to get the big picture of, I believe, to get it out there to world consciously in the world. Okay, I'm talking gut health, but there's many different aspects to that we all can associate with. So when I would approach and invest in many different coaches, in which I did, interestingly enough, before I came with you, I would have invested $40,000 in coaches.
Wow.
And they promised the world, and they've delivered they just didn't get it. They didn't get where I was at and what my mind was at. And in my mind, there was a code to crack to be able to do this, but they didn't get that code. So I just kept going and going and going. This has been probably 5 years, me trying to get to this stage. Yeah.
Okay. And what were you trying? What were they having you do for your business?
Well, they'd sign up and I'd promise you the world. I was very green to it to start with, clearly being online and just not knowing any systems or how it works. And a lot of it was they'd promise the world and deliver nothing. That's what it was in a nutshell. Yeah.
Okay. So what were you finding the issues? You just weren't getting the attention. You couldn't market properly, weren't finding the clients. What was it?
I was finding that I was dealing with people that were selling something that they didn't know what they were selling. And they'd taken carbon copies of other aspects of the internet, trying to make it their own business. And then when I questioned them about it, because I've had such a 20-year career plus in my own businesses, they would then, it just didn't deliver at the end of the day. It was like, it didn't make sense to join the dots. There was no dots to join. And it was very, very confusing.
Mm-hmm. And how long were you trying those things for?
5 years.
Wow. Okay. So 5 years of disappointment. What made you think, you know what, I'm going to give this one last go? Because I know the state you were on when we chatted, and it was definitely probably a 2.5 hour chat, because you were definitely questioning me, which is what I like. What made you think, you know what, I've got to give this another go? What was your drive behind this?
Yeah, look, I pretty much hit my pain point and interesting enough, as you know, Scott, I was in Bali at the time, and I'd gone through, I'd hit the pinnacle of my career in the fitness industry 5 years ago and well known for all that and what have you. And then I realized it's not what I wanted to do. However, it was like, how was I going to transition over into what I love doing, was coaching people and the health aspect of the gut. Mm-hmm. So then I took time out. I went to Bali for 1 year. It was one of the hardest, most grueling years of my life. And I chose to do that to try and find answers, because it felt like a midlife crisis. Like I felt like I completely come to absolutely nothing. And I did. I lost everything I'd ever worked for. I'd through bad business decisions. It was really interesting. And that was difficult, but and I knew though I was going to get an answer from just being with that place. And what I did do is I signed up with a coach that I'd seen come into a cafe in Bali, and he was a Brazilian guy, and he's talking, and he's a great guy, great energy, and I did take to his energy. He was an awesome person, and it was like $5,000, and I was like, oh my God, I just can't stay here anymore. I need to get back. I want to just get this going. And I invested the money, and then it was pretty much the last $5,000 I had. And then it transpired very quickly that this guy didn't know what he was talking about. I asked him to send through what the 12-week mastermind module would be. He said, what do you mean we go week to week? We just discover it, Lian, as we go. I'm like, oh my God, this is alarm bells. So I was freaking out. I was just like, no, I was like, this is not good. I was questioning him. He was getting aggressive, and I was just not the right person to work with. And then I was lying in bed. It was actually a Sunday. I remember it clearly. And I always have a rule, try not to do the computer on a Sunday. And I picked up my computer and I opened it, and you were on a Facebook feed. And immediately I knew from the words and the terminology that you were using, it just hit me. It was like, I want to work with this guy. Who is this guy? And that's when I was frantically started Googling and looking and researching. And yeah. So that's that part.
Okay. So we had our strategy call, which went for a long period of time. It was probably one of the most interesting phone calls I've had. And I remember you telling me about this, but I also remember you questioning me a lot in a good way. This is good clarification for you. What was the thing that made you think, you know what, this is the program I'm going to do? Because I could tell how stressed out you were. I could hear all the things that you were doing were incorrect, and you had the evidence to prove that. So it wasn't just me telling you, no, you're doing the wrong thing. You were down to like the last hope is what I could hear. What made you decide to go, you know what, I've just got to jump in the deep end with this?
It was my gut. It was my intuition. I work a lot on intuition, Scott, as well. And that's one of the main things of how I work and what makes me very successful when I apply myself. And I followed that gut instinct. And interesting, as I said, I just invested my last $5,000, and pretty much, and I had a little bit of reserve. Didn't have a ticket back to Australia, and you dropped the price on me, and then I was like, okay. And then I looked at my bank account as we spoke. I literally put my first down payment, and it left me with $30 in the bank, $30. And I was, you know what, I'm going to do this. I know that this is my answer. And then from that moment on, everything just what was it? I don't know, 7 days, I got my first, or not even, $3,000 or $5,000 sale. They just started coming in, and it was life changing for me. Like, I mean, I sat there and I applied myself 18 hours a day listening to this too. Yeah.
I remember 7 days through it, and you had PM me saying, Scott, I've just made, it was actually $12,500 within 7 days. And the bottom comment was, is it supposed to be this easy? Like, am I doing this right? And I think I must have just sent you a smiley face to say, well, if the money's coming in, it obviously means you're doing something right. And I think 7 days after that, which we'll talk about soon, you went from, yeah, I made $12,500. Let's celebrate. Now it's like, oh, 10 grand days. Who cares? You know, this is just normal for me. But let's get back to the gut health thing. Why were you so sure that that was going to be a good niche? Because it's a weird one. Like, I knew about gut health, and when you explained it to me, I started thinking, shit, that's me too. Like, I've actually got the things you're talking about. And I started thinking, you know what, this could be huge, as we're going to talk about soon. Why gut health? Like, what's so important about
it? Your gut is the essence of your whole body. Your gut runs your mind and the whole health of your entire body. And it is exactly where everyone's pain point is at the moment. And most health, nearly all health ailments, Scott, are related to gut issues. And you can't, when you talked about niching it out and going gut, everyone related to that one word, gut. So without a healthy gut, you do not have a healthy body, and you most definitely don't have a healthy mind or life to follow. Okay.
So you took the idea of helping people restore gut health. What was the reaction? Because you did it so quick, like $12,500 within the first 7 days. Why did it take off so quick? What did you do different in that 7 days that you tried to spend the last 5 years trying to work out? What was different?
Well, I followed the steps of your program, and first of all, that was to change my personal profile straight away, and I didn't completely actually wipe all of my personal people, because a lot of those were business contacts that I had previously, due to having pretty much traveled the world for 20 years too. So that was a hard one for me. However, it was an interesting one too. And as soon as I started putting that information out there, I had a business profile built already with thousands of followers and an Instagram, but there was no traction. So it all came right into the essence of running it through your personal profile.
So on Facebook, yeah?
Yeah, on Facebook. So, and everyone was at the time was like, you can't do that. This is it. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And it was like, no, I completely disagree.
Yeah. Yeah, because every other coach and that is screaming, you've got to build a business profile. You got to do a click funnels. You know, I've got other students that say their coaches tell them that it'll take 12 months before you make a sale, because you've got to warm your customers up. You have to run them through a funnel. You have to send them out newsletters. And look, 7 days into the program, you got 4 times the ROI on what you paid for it. Okay. And that's within week 1. So moving forward, you went in throughout the weeks and stuff. You started implementing the steps. What did you start to notice about your business? Like, how did it take off and get traction?
How did it take off? I mean, I think that you know yourself. It's me sending emergency texts, going, how do I cope with waking up to 200-300 new likes a day? And in all honesty, it was an interesting process of just like the internet going, wow, the power of it, and then taking that on. But a lot of that, and I'll completely honest, was males. Okay, that was hard to start with, and there was some quite extreme things coming through. That was like, whoa, is this the place I want to be? Is this how it works? But I chose to actually turn it around into a positive, because I went, there's a lot of men out there that have a lot of problems that don't like seeing doctors, and gut health is one of them. So that was something different that I did, rather than seeing as a negative. Of course, you still get your odd person here and there, but yeah, that's what I did with that.
Okay. So again, implementing all the steps, you're doing the stuff on Facebook, you're putting it out into the market. What do you think? Is there any other experts that are doing what you do? Why do you think it took off so much? And we'll talk about how much you've made in a moment, but why did it take off so much? Because is gut health that new, or is it just experts talking about the wrong thing? What do you think? What was wrong with gut health the way it was before you started implementing your strategies?
Scott, I don't, from what I know, I did all my studies over in America, and from what I could see back here in Australia, it was still the the protocols of naturopaths and doctors and what have you. And I went on a holistic path for that as far as gut health is concerned, and which is exactly where that sort of, where that led me to, that gut, how will I put this? What was different about it? Oh, you've lost me.
That's all right. We'll come back to that. Because it's a good thing for people to hear that differentiating yourself and what you do, even from so-called experts, is enough to go, you know what, here's the new face of gut health. Here's the new thing in the industry. Let's take a look at this. And just as you've witnessed in your business, it took off so quickly.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. And it did take off quickly. And I think because of all the years that I've done of using, as you said, Scott, to choose a niche, choose a word, choose a pain point for someone. And I went straight away, gut, bloating, unhappiness, uncomfortable. That was it. That was for me how easy it was, because
Awesome.
that equals a lot of pain.
Excellent. So it's not about just trying to invent something that you want to work on as a coach or a therapist or a trainer, but actually finding a real problem that people have pain in that you can solve in exchange for income. That's essentially business, right?
Correct.
So like you said, you're down to what, your last $30 when you signed up for the program, which is cool. Talk about dedication, right? And what, 3 months into the program, what have you managed to acquire as far as a figure? Like, what have you made since doing the program?
Well, I have done considerably well, hitting around the six figures with the first three. It wasn't the first 3 months; it was within the first 6 weeks, and then we came into. I mean, we talked about the Christmas period, which is interesting, and I looked also at that as a time of coming up in business, of going, instead of going, oh, that's a terrible time, is to work on the back end of the business for me. And for my clients, how do I put this? Every client I talk to, I treat exactly the same. I don't look at them as a money figure and go, if I don't sell a high-end ticket or to work privately with me, then I'd still look after these people and put them into a group.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So you're hitting the 6 figures within 6 weeks, which is phenomenal. And I know you've been that busy, you haven't even finished the program, or probably even got halfway through. So it shows you what's to come, because you are sending me a message going, Scott, I feel lazy, but I've got so much clients coming. What do I do? This is a good place for business, I think. So you're moving through the program, you're making big leaps and bounds in the business. What does it feel like for you to actually connect the dots? Because I know you were after this for a long time. What does it feel like for you going, you know what, this is actually working now, I actually found out what to do?
Look, it feels awesome. It feels amazing to be able to be in a place of, of happiness and knowing that, and using all my knowledge and skills that I have acquired for 20 years to be in a place where I can be out there helping people again. And it's like, that is the biggest thing that makes me happy, to help these people. And many of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Where would your business be right now if you hadn't done this program? Like 5 years of chasing it.
Yeah, I was probably in the same place I was sitting in Bali if I hadn't have. I would have gone to another coach that didn't give me the right answers, and I would have still been plugging away though. That's one thing about me, Scott. I would keep continuing to keep on going, and it's like regardless. But I wouldn't have had the success that I have had through using the program with you.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing. And you are definitely one of the catalysts for that is the determination and drive to basically push no matter what. Where do you get that from? Like, because there's a lot. It's such a hard thing to teach, you know, from an entrepreneur like yourself or myself or people that are making an extremely good income doing what they do and helping a lot of people. Regardless of the techniques and strategies, you have to know how to have such self-discipline to wake up every fucking day and grind this out, push this out. This whole 4-hour work week bullshit has just put everyone into like a delusion where they think I can work less and make more. Where do you get this drive from? Like, what are you actually trying to achieve?
I mean, where I get the drive from, first and foremost, is how I was brought up by my parents, and but me and my siblings were all the same. If you want something in your life, you have to work for it. We weren't given pocket money. We weren't given anything. I had 3 jobs at the age of 5. I had jobs before school, etc., etc. So that's where that drive and determination comes from for that, most definitely. And secondly, where do you want
to take this? Yeah, like, why are you pushing so hard? What's like the overall big goal for all of this?
As I said, and it reverts back to helping many people. And first and foremost, I think is where the world is going. It's not just helping adults now. It's about helping a younger generation coming through for the understanding and educating them. So if we can work down from the parents down to the children to then pushing it out there to the world.
Yeah. And that's so it's such a true point. I want for all the students on this program, for people listening as well, if you want to be highly successful, it has to go outside of just making money. It can't be just, I want to help a bunch of smokers, or I want to help a bunch of people lose weight or improve their gut health. And I'm cool with that. I'll just push through. But it's not going to get you out of bed when you don't feel like working. It's not going to get you to 6 figures and then take a whole year and celebrate. It's like, well, 6 figures, I've hit that in 6 weeks. It's not enough because the world is still in pain. There's millions of other people I can still help. So let's say 5 years from now, what do you want to have done? Like, are you wanting to, build a team? What are you hoping to do?
Well, that's a big question, and I have already. I mean, many of those things are in play, and I already am. Your program has allowed me to work with people worldwide. I'm not just Australia-based at all. I don't. Most of my work is online, Scott. Now, not most, nearly, well, all of it, in fact. So I'm having requests already and booking people to fly overseas next year to do retreats, to do education, to inspire minds, to put myself forward as a leader and an educator around all of this, and I guess my story behind it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So what would you say, especially to new entrepreneurs and people that actually want to do something they love, help people make a good income, change the world, do all that stuff? What would you say to those people who doubt it? This whole cliche thing of, I can't do business because I've got money blocks, or I can't do business because I've got fear of failure. These cliche terms that the personal development industry has really thrown out and ruined a lot of people's mindset in the way that I see it. What would you say to them if they're hesitant, they've been thinking about it for 5 years? What would you say to them to motivate them to actually get out there and do something they love?
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Why did you take the course that you've done to make you the coach, the trainer, whatever you are, to be able to help other people? What drove you to do that in the first place? You need to go back to that place to look at that with the drive and determination that you had, and find that place again, and then believe that you can actually do that. Because nothing's easy in life. We all know that. But you just have to keep going back. God, I have really hard days, like everybody does. Most, it's not just a win-win every day. And it's like, but you have to believe in yourself. And every moment that you have any form of doubt, you've got to go back to that platform, absolutely believing in yourself.
Yeah. I mean, if you, for 99% of the population of the people that are in this personal development thing, if they would have found themselves in your situation, basically giving up a career in fitness, having essentially $30 in your bank after you enroll in a new program, being in a foreign place, not even home or have a ticket yet, that would have freaked people out, and people would default back to the norm of, I've got to get home, I'm just going to get a full-time job, I'll run my coaching business in the background, that sort of thing. How did the drive is incredible, and I really want to get out, what drives you so much? I know you're brought up that way and stuff, but what really drove you think, I can't give up on this? Because you've got countless evidence to show you, shit, maybe I can't do this. Why did you keep pushing?
I kept pushing because, and interestingly, I had the flip side of that, of applying for jobs back in Australia. And I applied for something like nearly 500 jobs through certain companies and big companies, and was not back. And I knew that, okay, this is not, and when you're in not a good place and you're still trying to find, it's like I always just believed that something was going to come out of it. I just knew. I just followed my gut feeling, and that sounds weird to some people. That sounds very spiritual, but it's just you just know when you hit that spot. And you know what it was about? It was about not selling myself short as well. As I could have come back here and done and that, but I wouldn't have been true to myself by doing that. So I had to fight the battle, and I did fight it. and this is the result of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and just the start. just the start of it. And what you've done in 6 weeks, I know coaches and therapists who don't earn that in their whole career, and that's no word of a lie. But what's interesting, it keeps coming back to, and it's so true for everybody listening to this, you can have all the best skills, you can have all those freaking funnels, websites, all that stuff, million certifications, all that sort of stuff, but like I said, if you don't believe in yourself and you don't have that ability to push yourself, 12, 15 hours a day sitting in front of your computer, putting up with clients you don't like, putting up with clients you love as well, all the excuses, all the things you've got to put up with business to be able to push yourself and have self-discipline goes beyond that whole thing of, I've just got to work on my mindset, then my business will be better. I've just got to get rid of my abundance blocks, then my business will be better. That's one small part of it, even if it is a real part, but having that ability, like you said, to push and push and push, but also solve a real problem in the industry. You put those two things together and, 6 figures in 6 weeks, and who's to know where this is going to go. And you're at a point in the program, because I can see where you are in the program, you're not even at the systems part. Like, how do we automate all this? How do we make this consistent? When we get to that, it's going to be you, who knows? That's the exciting part. So we'll have to do another interview at some point, 6 months from now to see the difference. But what would you say to the students who are going to listen to this on the program, the ones that usually at about week 4 and 5, they start doubting their niche, they start doubting their ability, they start doubting the course, they start doubting their whole thing. What would you say to them?
Look, I see that. I see that, and I see the doubt in those people, and it just goes back to that. You can't. You've got to dig deep. You've got to stop and go back again. And for most of those people, what that would be, the excitement and the motivation to why they joined your program in the first place. They were so excited when they signed up, and that feeling of that, and go back to that place. So, and you just got to keep pushing. You've got to keep pushing. There's no other way around it.
Awesome. So as a business owner, what would you say the most important things for you in your business are right now, that as enabled you to make the sort of money you're making and help this many people?
I think absolute authenticity, Scott, when it comes to authenticity. I go back to what I said before, every person I pick up the telephone call to, I speak to, look, sure, I know there's people that I get on the phone straight away that aren't going to be people that are going to buy from me, but I still talk to that person for 45 minutes and I listen to them. And I believe that you have to be authentic. You've got to take that, that thinking, a lot of these people that have signed up, seeing the high-end figures and what have you, take that equation away. The money comes. If you do what you do with passion, all right, every single day of your life, the money comes. But if you go into it with a different angle, the money, thinking, I've got to make the money, that's not authentic. You have to be authentic. And authenticity is what will get you there in the end.
Yeah. What's cool that you said there is the number one thing is help a client, solve a problem. Now you could have said, well, my website, it's my funnel, even though I know you don't have those things. It's my team, it's my VA, it's all these things that, the certifications on the wall, the fancy office, the business cards, all the stuff that I know you're not even bothering with, and look at the result. So if we look at that equation from a purely logistic point, you've got less systems in your business, but you're making more money and getting more traction in your business than most coaches and therapists will have do in their entire career. Okay. And it all comes down to, like we said, actually having passion, but helping a real problem, like actually solving a problem. And it's such a hard thing to teach. Coaches and therapists and even people like trainers come in, from your point of view, come into this industry making up some weird problem in their head and going, that's what I want to solve, because everybody needs mindset work. So I'm going to be another mindset coach, or everyone needs to clear abundance blocks. So I'm going to be that type of coach. These made up ridiculous niches that have nothing. But if you swing this around, I think, well, gut health is a real problem. People suffer pain from gut health. What if I just fix that? And look what happened. It would have been totally different had you come into this program saying, Scott, I want to be an abundance coach, or I want to teach another NLP course. I want to teach another fitness course. It's been so done. And what's really cool and what I applaud you for is finding, and as simple as it sounds, finding a real fucking problem and saying, you know what? I'm going to fix that, because not only do I have passion for it, but it's real, it's tangible. When you started talking to me about it, I started thinking, shit, I'm your client as well. Like, I'm feeling the things that you're saying. And it was so clear. What I find a lot of business owners, when they even talk about their program, their product, it doesn't even make sense, because it's so diluted with all this coaching and therapy language and weird language that sums it up, and they don't even know what they're talking about. With yours, it's so crystal clear. You know what you do. You help people with gut health, and the symptoms of gut health are X, Y, and Z, and that's what you help. So there's no delusion of what you're doing. There's no confusion, and that's been what I think, again, the catalyst for your success. And also what you said was, you got to push. Like, there's no days off in this thing. I talk about this in the program. I know you appreciate this. Is the first, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks, that's your momentum stage. If you can't push for 6 weeks, you may as you just go broke. Don't even bother with a business, because it's hard. I think a lot of people get into this thinking it's going to be easy. I'm certified. I have a passion. I've got a skill. It's going to be easy. But as you said, it's more than that. It's like, what's going to pull you out of bed when the last thing you want to do is make another sales call or help another person? But it's that overall passion of, I want to help the world. I want to transition the whole world away from gut health, so into something more positive, so people can feel better. And it all starts with the gut. So you can see the correlation from where it starts to the bigger picture. And a lot of people haven't made that connection yet.
No, they haven't. And I think I see the biggest thing as well, Scott, and recognize the students and people wanting to do this, and all credit to everything. But a big thing I see, don't overcomplicate it, guys. They overcomplicate it, right? And it's like, just sit in it. It is. Yeah, that's it. Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
It's simple. Keep it simple.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at what you do is simple. The systems you run, get people on the phone and talk to them, that's simple. But when you first came to me, look at the dilemmas you were having. You were starting then to implement funnels, get online, build business pages, build this page, build this on a website, pop-ups, meetup groups, whatever you were doing at the time was so complicated for such an easy idea. So what we've really done and what you've done so well is take out all the confusion and all the moving parts that aren't necessary and kept it simple. What I do is I help people with gut health issues, and how I do it is I'm going to get on the phone and talk to you about it.
Correct.
Okay.
And you listen to people. You don't have in your mind that you're going to sell it for whatever amount you're selling it for, and you're hoping you're sitting on the edge of your seat going, oh my God, I've got to make this deal. You just sit back and you be present and you listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
Someone talked to me about it, and I said, Tinder's like being on Tinder, a dating service.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
Oh, right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, right, and just get to know that person. Yeah, don't go straight in there like a bull out of the gate going, I have to make this money. That's just not the way to do it.
Yeah. And you've really proven that before you start systemizing everything with funnels and websites and all that sort of stuff, you need a real problem first. But most people, 99% of them, coaches, therapists, they jump straight into the systems first, try and launch a product that doesn't exist, try and launch a product that nobody wants with weird language that doesn't explain it for a stupid price with no equation of what result they're going to get their clients, but they think it's all in the funnel, it's in the website, it's in this. But you've proven it again, it comes down to what's the problem you're solving. And if you can keep it as simple as that, like you said, the money comes, the success comes, but you have to solve something real first. And like I said, talk to these people. I like the Tinder analogy. I might use that for business now to explain business, like being on Tinder. But it's so true. Like, don't overcomplicate it. If you want to date that man or woman sitting in front of you, you just ask them, would you like to go out again? You don't run them through a funnel. You don't run them through a website or anything. You tell them, what I have for you is this is me. And if you would like this result, let's catch up again, if we could put those two things together. Okay. So what would you, well, I guess we'll get to the last part of this is any last remarks for you? Like, what would you have to say? What's been your experience like on the program so far is probably the good last question.
It's been awesome, Scott. It really has been awesome. And this is a big part of me that is, there's 4 weeks into the program that I haven't even hit the end of the 4 weeks yet. And because I've been bombarded so much, but there's a big part of me that wants to get into that side of things as well. So I've been trying to control that growth, which has been immense for me, and without in a foreign area as well. So I was taking the leap of faith yet again, going, and then so for me it's finding that time to finish and to get those systems in place, and I'm we'll see how that goes with that. Yeah,
cool. All right, so awesome. I think you pretty much covered it. So again, thank you for jumping on. I guess for anybody watching this, if they struggle with gut health and would like to contact you, how would they get in touch with you?
Through my Facebook, because I don't have a URL. So Lian Monley Scott. So yeah.
Beautiful. So they can just jump on Facebook, look up Lian Monley. I've got to stop calling you Lian.
Really interested, guys, to be honest. Like PM me because I have so many likes coming in at the moment, and filtering through that, which is just, I've nearly hit capacity, and it's finding out, so that's a big thing right now for me, the real interest too, so because of the explosive growth, right? So yeah.
This is a good thing, and not even finished the 4 weeks yet. So Lian, thanks for jumping on. I look forward to seeing where this goes. I mean, we're at the start of the year when they're recording this, first week of January. So yeah, man, you've kicked ass. Keep it up. And hopefully for everybody watching this as well, it's clarified what it really takes to hit that 6 figures within the first 6 weeks. But realizing as well, it takes the dedication, the authenticity, the ability to solve a real problem, and the ability to push yourself and also trust them as well. So thanks for jumping on. I guess we're going to leave it at that, but I look forward to seeing where this actually goes. So I'll see you over in the Facebook group, and let's get this, 6 figures a week starting. I think that's the next goal for the year.
My goodness.
Yeah. Awesome, Lian. All right. Thanks so much. Get back to your busy day, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks. Bye-bye.